All right, so I guess we just start, just waiting a little bit for my slides appearing here on the screen, but there we go. Hello, Laracon. I'm insanely excited to be here today. For those who don't know me, my name is Nuno Maduro. I'm the creator of multiple open source packages in the PHP ecosystem. I'm also Laravel core team member and the creator of one of the most popular testing frameworks in the world, Pest PHP. Do you agree with that? All right, today we have a main topic, which is Pest v3. We are going to see everything coming new to this major version of Pest PHP. Before we do that, if you don't know what Pest is, it's pretty much this elegant PHP testing framework with a focus on simplicity. We have released Pest in spring 2021, and since then, we already have managed to convince more than 50% of the Laravel developers that Pest should be your default testing framework. 2 years after, we have released Pest v2, and this was by far the most successful release we have done on Pest, introducing features such as profile analysis, code coverage reports, architectural testing, watch mode, type coverage, snapshot testing, stress testing, and more. Now, this release also reached 80 million total downloads. I want a round of applause because of that. We also made it, finally, as a default testing framework on Laravel. You go to the documentation, you see Pest being featured first, but also if you start a new project using Laravel new, you will see that Pest is your default testing framework. Now, today it's not about Pest v1 or Pest v2. It's about Pest v3 and everything we have been prepared. We have prepared 3 new features for you that are going to blow your mind. All right, so if you guys are ready, let's just get started. Pest v2 always had this feature and possibility of creating to-dos. It's a very simple concept where you just go to your current test suite, just like this, and you change the to-do method. Now, once you do this, you pretty much see your task being marked as a to-do. Now, what you can do later with this particular feature is basically come here and just do dash to-dos and see what is left in your project. Now, we always have this, but now we have more. While working on this project at Laravel, which we'll see tonight, something I was constantly doing is jumping between my test suite and Linear, which is a task management tool used at Laravel. Now, I was jumping between my test suite and Linear to see what is assigned to me, what are the GitHub issues corresponding to that particular task, and more. So I just thought, would it be so cool to have some of that, but on my task suite, right on my fingertips. So today, I'm proud to introduce you to task management for Pest PHP, which is literally issues, tickets, notes, assignees, literally in your test suite. Let me just show and demo this to you. I'm going to move here back into my Sublime Text and my terminal. And what I'm going to do now is, instead of creating just a to-do, I'm going to assign this to-do to Nuno Maduro. Just like that. I'm going to save it, run Pest, and now, hopefully, here I have this particular task being assigned to Nuno Maduro. Also, something I can do is just come here and type comma, and basically assign this to a particular GitHub issue. So now if I run Pest, I see that the assignee is Nuno, but also the GitHub issue is 11. And I can just click on it, like how nice is it? Bam, just right there on the browser, see the GitHub issue corresponding to this test. Now, in the real world use case, you probably wouldn't have just one test, right? You probably would have multiple ones. So here what I'm going to do is basically just type, it might be edited and also might be deleted, and just keep every single test assigned to the same person and to the same GitHub issue. It's as easy as that. Now, we have some duplication here, which is calling to do literally all the time. So what I can do is just leverage describe block. So I can just type describe posts, for example, which is this test name, and then just group all of these tests within my describe block. As easy as that. So I can do this, just basically save it, and finally just change the to-do at the end of the describe, so I don't have to do all the time. Bam it, there we go, clear my test suite, and I have exactly the same result as before, and without replicating to do all the time. Now, in this particular use case, as you can see, all of the tests are assigned to Nuno. But if I want to assign a different GitHub issue to each one of these tests, something I can do is literally not specify that on the describe, and just do here issue 11, this is the issue 22, and this is the issue 33. As easy as that. And now we have 3 tests, and each one of them assigned to Nuno, but belonging to a different GitHub issue. Now, again, so far we have worked with a single file, but with the real-world use case, you have more than one file in your test suite. So I'm going to just go here to this likes post, and I'm going to uncomment this file. I'm going to do the same with this images test and uncomment it. Now, I'm going to run this entire test suite, and here we have kind of a real-world use case where we have images assigned to Mohamed Said. We have likes assigned to Taylor Otwell, but posts assigned to myself. And I can just filter this. I can just come here, just type clear, past, just run past and assignee Nuno, and I will see what is assigned to me. I can see as well what is assigned to Taylor, just like that, right on my fingertips. And of course, I can also filter by issue. So here I'm going to just filter by the issue 11, and I get to see exactly what tasks respond to the issue 11. Not only that, but at some point, you will be done with these to-dos, hopefully, right? So what you can do here is basically come to any test, really, and replace to-do by done. Once you do this, this particular test will run, and as you can see, is passing at the moment, and you don't lose the context, which is one of the most important things. So if this test fails in the future, you know exactly who worked on it, and you know exactly the GitHub feature. Now, this is task management, and is coming for Pest 3. Thank you. All right, so far we have seen the feature number 1 coming for Pest. In this release, we have 3. Now, the next feature is about architectural testing. So I want to kind of showcase to you what currently we do have on Pest 2 already regarding architectural testing. So architectural testing is by far one of the most popular plugins we have on the Pest PHP community, because basically it ensures consistency in your code. Let me just quickly demo architectural testing for you. So I'm going to place myself here on the project number 2, and open this architectural testing file, which is hopefully empty. And I'm going to do the same on the console, and hopefully we have no tests at all, which I don't. Now, architectural testing allows you to test 3 main things: globals, dependencies, and style. Let's start with global so you can see what this architectural testing is about. And reminder, this already exists on Pest. So something you can do is basically ensure that some global functions don't get used all the time. Now, a global function we love is DD, the best debugger in the world. Now, what you don't like to see, you love DD, right? But what you don't like to see is DDs in production. So how can we avoid that? Well, we can avoid that with a single line. I can just come here and type arch, expect DD not to be used. You can just read it. Expect DD not to be used, just like a natural phrase. So I'm going to go here, run past, and now I have a failing test suite, because within this project number 2, I do have this user controller using a DD right there. So I can just remove it and have a passing test suite. So this is one of the use cases of architectural testing, and as you can see, it's very useful. The second case we have with architectural testing is testing dependencies. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, but if you do, you probably have seen me tweeting a lot about actions. It's one of my favorite patterns these days. It basically allows you to extract a particular action, put that within a class, and not couple that class to the HTTP layer or the console. You can pretty much test that in isolation. However, on this particular action called an update user, something I'm doing which is wrong is coupling this action to the HTTP request. So you don't want to do this, and you want to avoid this in the future. You probably would just pass a regular array of attributes here. So how can you ensure that this never happens in the future with architectural testing? I'm going to show you my favorite architectural testing ever. You just type expect everything under app HTTP to only be used in app HTTP. As simple as this. So everything created under app HTTP, form controllers, anything, just gets used there. And now we have Pest PHP telling me that I'm using an HTTP object within actions, as you can see here. I can just go there, remove the import on top. Also as well, instead of accepting a full thing, I'm going to just accept an array of validated information. Do the same just below when I'm calling the user update. So here will be validated. And finally, within my user controller, instead of providing the full HTTP request, I'm going to provide only the validated information, okay? Clear my terminal, and here we have another passing test suite. So again, this is what we have today on Pest 2. One final thing we have on Pest 2 regarding architectural testing is testing style. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm working with controllers, something I kind of don't like is extending the base controller of Laravel. So I kind of tend to avoid this. So how can I do that with architectural testing? Well, it's as easy as coming here and just type this. Architectural, expect everything under app HTTP controllers to extend nothing. Again, you can just read it. I'm going to clear my terminal, run Pest. It does complain about that particular controller. I can just go there, remove both extends on my controllers, and now, hopefully, I do have a passing test suite, which I think is pretty cool. So this is what we have today on architectural testing on Pest. What's the problem with this? The problem is that while it justifies a time with big teams, in medium-sized teams and small teams and one-person teams, it can be a little bit hard to justify the time just writing these granular rules down. So for Pest 3, I wanted to make the architectural testing plugin really accessible to everyone, if you are medium-sized, small, or basically one person working in your project. So today, I'm proud to introduce you to architectural presets, which is literally one single line and puts hundreds of architectural rules in your project. Let me just demo this to you. I'm going to go back into my Sublime text, and instead of typing architectural rules one by one, I'm going to just type one line. Arch preset PHP. Now, the PHP preset is the most basic we have. Right now, I have a passing test suite. So let's make this test suite fail by using something we shouldn't use on any PHP project. I'm going to try to come here to this user controller and just die the code right there. Just end the execution of code. And obviously, this particular preset will just fail. Now, the PHP preset is one preset that doesn't matter the framework you use. You can use Drupal, WordPress, Symfony, or Laravel. It can be used on any PHP project. So something I shouldn't do on any PHP project as well is just return the PHP info. If you don't know, this function kind of leaks all the PHP installation, so you don't want it to do that. I'm going to just basically run Pest PHP now, and you will see that it's basically complaining about the usage of that function. I can just remove it, and now we have a passing test suite again. So this is the PHP preset, and also coming for Pest. Now, another preset we have, which I think is very cool, is a security preset. And just like the PHP preset, can be used and should on any PHP project. And obviously contains general rules of safety about security. And I'm going to give you an example. So hopefully, here we have a passing test suite, which we do. And what I'm going to do here, it's basically coming to my user controller and try to do something I shouldn't do security-wise. Let's try to hash with MD5, the given request secret. So nothing about this line is safe anymore. So if you're using MD5 this year, you shouldn't. I'm going to run just Pest, and Pest will complain about the usage of MD5, thanks to the security preset. Something else I shouldn't do is literally eval the current request code to allow arbitrary execution of code. So here, if I just run my test suite again, I have a failing test suite, of course. Run Pest again, and now it's passing. So PHP preset and security presets are two presets coming for Pest, and it should be used on any PHP application. Now I'm going to show you my favorite preset. Again, if I go back in the slides here a little bit, you probably have seen me, I've been working on this project at Laravel for months now, and something I was constantly doing is writing architectural rules down. more than 100 architectural rules for this project to ensure consistency. And at some point, I just thought, it would be just so cool to be able to reuse this on any of my Laravel applications. That's what I have done. So today, I'm going to show you the Laravel preset, which is literally my favorite preset coming for Pest 3. I just type Laravel, and let's see what the feedback we have from the terminal. Running vendor bin Pest, and the first feedback is quite interesting. So Pest PHP is telling me that the post controller shouldn't have any more methods besides index, show, create, store, edit, update, or destroy, which, as you well know, if you go to the Laravel documentation, is kind of the resourceful controllers we recommend you to have in your controller. So we are kind of ensuring that you don't have any other methods besides this 7. So if I go to my user controller right here, I have post controller, apologize. Here I have this save post, which to address the issue, I can just rename it to store and ensure consistency this way. However, I run Pest, and now it's complaining about something else. It's complaining that this post response doesn't have the suffix controller. I don't know about you, I love my controllers to be suffixed with the word controller, so I'm going to just ensure consistency here by renaming this post response to post controller. And do the same with the file name. Clear my terminal, run Pest, and we have one final thing. You know what, it's funny here, it doesn't feel a little bit like TDD? You are basically fixing one problem, another one appears until you are done and ensure consistency. So the last problem we have here is that seems that I have an exception within the app exception. So I'm going to just go there and see that indeed I have this user type no longer exists exception, which is supposed to be an exception, but it's not implementing throwable. And as you well know, if you don't implement throwable, it's because you didn't extend the base class we have in PHP called exception. So I'm going to just address that issue by simply, first of all, include the exception class, and finally just come here and type extends exception. And hopefully I have no missing things to fix. So thank you. So this is the Laravel preset, my favorite preset, but I think I have one more or two presets that you may like as well. I've been in this community long enough to understand that there's literally two types of people in the Laravel community. We have the more strict type, which likes to declare strict types, final classes, value objects, prefer private methods over protected, in all of this. However, we have the other type, which we can say is a little bit more relaxed, right? A little bit more relaxed, doesn't like declare strict types, doesn't really like final classes, prefer protected methods over private. So I have created a preset for each one of these groups. Let's go to the architectural test. Instead of typing Laravel, I'm going to just type strict. Run Pest PHP, and the first feedback I have is that this app service provider is not final. So let's go to the providers and address this issue. I'm going to just come here and add the word final. Run Pest. And yet, well, as you may expect, is now complaining about other class not being final. So what is important here is ensure consistency, you know? If you are a strict type, within the strict type, just ensure to use final all over the place. That's kind of the person I am. I'm not from the strict or relaxed. I'm more kind of in the middle. I just want you to use one of them, basically. So I'm going to go here and move this from the strict, but now to the relaxed preset. So I'm going to just type relaxed. Clear my terminal, run Pest, and here I have this final keyword which I forgot to remove, basically ensuring I have 0 final classes in my project, which is the best feature in the world, right? So I'm going to just remove the final. Run Pest is now passing as expected. Thank you. If I were to, for example, just use private here, it will complain because it needs to be at least protected. So kind of ensures consistency in all your projects. So this is the architectural preset and is coming as well for Pest 3. So far we have seen 2 out of 3 features coming for Pest. Task management and architectural presets. Now we have one more feature coming for Pest. Let's work a little bit together and try to understand what tools do we have today that allows us to understand the quality of our test suite? Probably some of you will say, well, we have coverage. And in fact, Pest PHP offers you 2 types of coverage. Let me just show and demo that to you. This is currently stuff we have on Pest 2, by the way. So I'm going to move here into the project number 3, and I'm going to open this password controller and do the same thing on my terminal, place myself on a project number 3, and hopefully we have a passing test suite, which we do. Now, Pest PHP offers you 2 types of coverage. The first one is called type coverage. I can just go here to the console and just type vendor bean pest -- type coverage. Now, if you don't know what type coverage is, it's pretty much this feature that tells you that your code is fully typed, which is a good thing. So here I have 100% type coverage. What do you think would happen, for example, if I were to remove, this particular return type? I'm going to run Pest, and now I'm going down from 100% to 98%, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. And as well, Pest PHP tells me directly, you are missing a return type on the password controller line 16. I can just add it back, and then I'm back to 100% fully typed code. Now, this is an interesting feature. However, it doesn't really tell me the quality of my test suite. It just tells me, actually, it doesn't even tell me that I have tests at all. It just basically ensures I have my code fully typed. What kind of other coverages do we have? Well, we have regular code coverage, which I can just come here and type -- coverage. And on this particular project, I think I have 100%. There we go. And you probably have heard in the community people saying code coverage is a waste of time. Well, I tend to disagree with that. I can tell you for sure that having 100% is better than having 0, right? So that's a good thing, having code coverage, just basically ensuring that we have tests. However, there is a problem about code coverage that I would like to show you. I'm going to move back here into my project. And as you can see, I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger, clear my terminal. As you can see, here I have this password controller, which the goal is obviously update the user password. So I have this update method, which receives a request, and the first thing I do to begin with is ensure the given request is valid. So I check if the user is providing his current password, and then I check if he's providing the new password. And this new password needs to be strong enough. If you don't know this rule in Laravel, basically ensures that your password is strong enough to be on the system. And finally, only if the password is valid, I'm going to actually update the user password on the database. Now, with 100% code coverage, which as you all see, with 100% code coverage, what do you expect? What do all of you expect if I would just come here and remove this method line? Probably you would say, well, with 100% cast coverage, you remove one line as important as updating the password on the database. Sure enough, your test suite is failing. However, if I just run it again, not only my test suite is passing, but also my code coverage is still 100%. So this is the problem about code coverage in general, is that it tells you that you have tests, but it doesn't tell you the quality of those tests. But for Pest 3, we have fixed this issue. Let me just show you. Today, I'm proud to introduce you to Mutation Testing, which is the ultimate solution you have on Pest that tells you exactly the quality of your test suite. I'm going to just demo this to you because I'm insanely excited. Moving back into my Sublime text and just adding back this request update. I'm going to expand my terminal, run clear, and instead of writing -- coverage, I'm going to simply type -- mutate. And let's analyze the output of this mutate altogether. The first thing he did was running my test suite, and my test suite is passing, which is a good thing. After, he have created one mutation of my app. One mutation is kind of a slightly different version of your app, a little bit different. The difference was, as you can see here, the line 23, Pest PHP have removed this method call. So at runtime, Pest PHP have removed the method call that actually updates the password on the database without me even seeing it. But because the test suite was still passing after removing this line 23, that allowed Pest PHP to determine that this particular line 23 is fully untested. Okay? Because it doesn't really matter if you have this line or not. Your test suite was still passing, and thanks to mutation testing, we have detected that indeed this line 23 is fully tested. We can see the feedback just below. Test suite passed without detecting the mutated code. And here I have the diff that Pest PHP removed this line, and the test suite was still passing after that. So we have clearly an untested line here, which is line 23. And if I clear my terminal, and I just expand this a little bit, you know that this line is actually updating the password on the database. So how can we improve the quality of our test suite to actually test this line 23? Well, I just have to go to this password can be updated. And what this password can be updated is doing is literally just from the profile, update the user password, providing the current one and the new one, and then checking if we have problems on our form. So the problem about quality of this test is that at any point, we have an assertion that checks the password on the database. So clearly, we have a test here, but it's missing quality. It's missing literally an assertion here. So let's add an assertion that if we were to remove that line, our test suite fails. So it's as simple as this. I'm going to just go here and do the following. Expect the hash of the new password to match the user's password on the database. Just one simple assertion. I expect this to be true. Now, if I run my test suite after this assertion, obviously if I were to remove this and run my test suite without mutate, hopefully I have a failing test suite because that's what I have added the assertion for. If I add it back, now it's passing. And finally, if I run mutation testing again, here I have the feedback that that particular mutation is finally caught. In here, just below, I have 100% of mutation testing. This is what tells you that your test suite have quality. Not your own eyes, not your colleague, mutation testing score. Let me demo to you one more example about mutation testing, because for the sake of simplicity, here within my Pest PHP file, I'm actually running only one mutation, which is removing a method call in just one within my password controller. So let's run all the mutations we have. Let's give everything we have against this password controller. I'm going to expand this and analyze the output together with you. So first thing happening, we are running our test suite, which is passing. And then instead of creating one mutation, we are now creating 10 mutations in my test suite. And remember, for each one of these mutations, Pest PHP will rerun the test suite. If the test suite is passing, that's not good. It means that the mutation contains mutated code fully untested. If the test suite is failing, that's a good sign. So let's analyze again this output together. Place myself here on the password controller, and I can see that the first thing Pest PHP have done is on the line 16, Pest PHP went here and changed this public to protected. And after that, the test suite was failing, which is a good sign. As you well know, routes need to be public methods. So I'm going to just add it back. And the second thing Pest PHP has done is on the line 19 and 20, Pest PHP automatically went to every single validation rule we have and remove each one by one. So remove the required, we run our test suite was failing, which is a good thing, and did all of this for each one of these validation rules. However, there is one rule which Pest PHP have removed, and our test suite was still passing after that. And that rule is called password defaults, as you can see here. This one got removed, and the test suite was still passing. So if I were to remove this and just run my test suite, you can see that the test suite was still failing, so it's still passing. So it doesn't really matter if we have this rule or not. It doesn't affect the outcome of our test suite. And that's exactly what mutation testing is telling us. So what I can do is ensure that this rule is indeed in place using tests. So I'm going to just make my Sublime text a little bit better and improve the quality of my test suite by uncommenting this test I have below. And this test is pretty much simple. The only thing I'm doing is ensuring the password or the given password needs to be at least 8 characters. So acting as an user, I'm going to try to update my password, providing the current one, but this time I'm going to provide a weak password, which is 1, 2, 3. And of course, I expect to have problems within my form validation, and obviously, if I were to go to my test suite, run it now, I expect it still to be passing. However, if I were to go to remove this password defaults, I expect my test suite to fail. So mutation testing really tells you which code is untested, which for me, it's just amazing and huge progression versus regular code coverage. Now, thank you. And to finalize, as you can see, if I run --mutate, all the mutants get caught, and I have below 100% mutation testing score, which is exactly what you are looking for. And now, during this demo, I've actually run mutation testing only against the password controller. I'm going to finalize by removing all of these filters and literally running mutation testing against this entire project and running this in parallel so it can be super fast. And as you can see, we do have a lot of problems to address on this test suite. So I invite you, once Pest PHP 3 is out, run mutation testing, let me know what is the score you have. So this is mutation testing coming as well for Pest 3, and a huge shout out to Sandro for coding pretty much all of this plugin by himself. He's part of the Pest core team member, and yeah, pretty much coded this mutation testing plugin. A round of applause for him, please. All right, today we have seen 3 main features coming for Pest 3: task management, architectural presets, and mutation testing. 3 features that I think will make the Pest 3 the best release yet. If you like it Pest, please go to pestphp.com. We have a beautiful website and documentation to help you getting started with Pest if it's something that you are looking for. Now, Pest 3 is coming out next week, and something that I'm insanely proud of is, if you are using Pest 2, the only thing you need to do is running Composer Update. So 0 breaking changes coming for Pest 3. All right, one more thing. Did you guys saw Pinkery? Yeah, so Pinkery is this new social media I've been created on Twitter, and it's kind of a social media that I've been tweeting about it, and it's built on top of tools we absolutely love. It's built on top of Laravel, Tailwind, Livewire, all the tools we love in the ecosystem, and on top of that is fully tested using Pest 3. So to celebrate the Pest 3 release and to make it really good, I just thought, let's make Pinkery open source today. Thank you so much for having me, Laracon. It was a pleasure to be with you, and see you all out there. Thank you.
You crushed it. Good job. Thank you. Okay, mutation testing is wild. That is a beautiful feature. Where do you, so like as you're leading this open source project, do you frameworks? Does this all come from deep within your brain? How are you getting this inspiration for these wonderful things?
So a lot of it is inspired by other testing frameworks. For example, the API was fully based on Jest, for example. However, sometimes features like task management just come out of need. You know, I'm working on this project and I have this idea, and basically just pour those ideas to Pest PHP. It's basically that.
Well, it's amazing. Well done. Give it up for Nuno. Good job, Nuno.
Thank you.
You killed it.